I would say the skill to manage these three apply to anything, not just entrepreneur. The three matters in the way you live your life as an individual or as part of a family, a business, a charitable organization, a city, or a nation. Each of these skills is enhanced by the mastery of self discipline. I do not take the saying pay yourself first lightly. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason is where the statement pay yourself first come from. Millions of copies has been sold, but while millions of people freely repeat that powerful statement, few follow the advice. As I said, financial literacy allow one to read numbers, and numbers tell the story while looking at the person's income statement and balance sheet. I can readily see if people who spout the words pay yourself first actually practice what they preach. A picture is worth a thousand words, so let again compare the financial statement of people who pay themselves first against some who doesn't. People who pay themselves first, job, income, expense, asset liabilities, someone who pay everyone else first, often there is nothing left. Job, income, expense, nothing left. Asset liabilities. Study the diagram and notice if you can pick up some distinction. Again, it has to do with understanding cash flow, which tells the story. Most people look at the numbers and miss the story. If you can truly begins to understand the power of cash flow, you will soon realize what is wrong with the picture on the next page, or why 90% of the people work hard all their lives and need government support like social security when they are no longer able to work. Do you see it? The diagram above reflect the actions of an individual who choose to pay himself first. Each month they allocate money to their asset column before they pay their monthly expenses. Although millions of people have read class in book and understand the words pay yourself first, in reality they pay themselves last. Now I can hear the howls from those of you who sincerely believe in paying your bills first, and I can hear all the responsible people who pay their bills on time. I am not saying the irresponsible and not pay your bills. All I am saying is do what the book saying, which is pay yourself first, and the diagram above is the correct accounting picture of that action, not the one that follow. My wife and I have had many bookkeepers and accountants and bankers who have had a major problem with the way of looking a pay yourself first. The reason is that these financial professionals actually do what the masses do, what which is pay themselves last, the pay everyone else first. There have been months in my life when for whatever reason cash flow was far less than my bills, I still pay myself first. My accountant and bookkeeper screams in panic. They are going to come after you. The IRS is going to put you in jail. You are going to ruin your credit rating. They are cut. They will cut off the electricity. I still paid myself first. Why? You ask. Because that's what the story The Richest Man in Babylon was all about, the power of self discipline and the power of internal fortitude, goods in less elegant terms. As my rich dad taught me the first month I work for him, most people allow the world to push them around. A bill collector calls and you pay or else. So you pay and not pay yourself. A sales clerk say, "Oh, just put it on your charge card." Your real estate agent tells you to go ahead. The government allow you to a tax deduction on your home. That is what the book is really about. Having the guts to go against the tide and get rich. You may not be weak, but when it comes to money, many people get wimpy. I'm not saying be irresponsible. The reason I don't have high credit cards debts and do that do that debt is because I want to pay myself first. The reason I minimize my income is because I don't want to pay it to government. That is why for those of you who have watched the video The Secrets of the Rich, my income comes from my asset columns through a Nevada corporation. If I work for money, the government takes it. Although I pay my bills last, I am financially astute enough to not get into tough financial situation. I don't like consumer debt. I actually have liabilities that are higher than 99% of the population, but I don't pay for them. Other people pay for my liabilities. They are called tenants. So rule number one in paying yourself first is don't get into debt in the first place. Although I pay my bills last, I set it up to have only small unimportant bills that I will have to pay. Secondly, when I occasionally come up short, I still pay myself first. I let the creditors and even the government screams. I like it when they get tough. Why? Because those guys do me a favor. They inspire me to go out and create more money. So I pay myself first, invest the money, and let the creditors yell. I generally pay them right away. Anyway, my wife and I have excellent credit. We just don't cave into the pressure and spend our savings and liquidate stocks to pay for consumer debt. That is not too financially intelligent. So the answer is number one, don't get into large debt position that you have to pay for. Keep your expenses low, build up assets first, then buy the big house or nice car. Being stuck in the rat race is not intelligent. Number two, when you come up when you come up short, let the pressure build and don't dip into your saving or investment. Use the pressure to inspire your financial genius to come up with new ways of making more money. Then pay your bills. You will have increased your ability to make more money as well as your financial intelligence. So many times I have gotten into financial hot water and use my brain to create more income while essentially defending the asset. In my asset column, my bookkeeper has screamed and dived for cover, but I was like a good trooper defending the fort asset. Poor people have poor habits. A column bad habits is innocently called dipping into saving. The rich knows that savings are only used to create more money, not to pay bills. I know that sounds tough, but as I said, if you are not tough inside, the world will always push you around anyway. If you do not like financial pressure, then find a formula that works for you. A good one is to cut expenses, put your money in the bank, pay more than you fair share of income tax, buy safe mutual funds, and take the vow of the average. But this violates the pay yourself first rule. The rule does not encourage self sacrifice or financial abstinence. It doesn't mean pay yourself first and starve. Life was meant to be enjoyed. If you call on your financial genius, you can have all the goodies of life, get rich and pay bills without sacrificing the good life, and that is financial intelligence. Number six, pay your brokers well. The power of good advice. I often see people posting a sign in front of their house that say for sale by honor, or see on TV today many people claiming to be discount brokers. My rich dad taught me to take the opposite track. He believed in paying professionals well, and I have adopted that policy also. Today I have expenses attorney, accountants, and real estate brokers and stockbrokers. Why? Because if and I do mean if the people are professionals, their services should make you money, and the more money they make, the more money I make. We live in the information age. Information is priceless. A good broker should provide you with information as well as take the time to educate you. I have several brokers who are willing to do that for me. Some taught me when I had little or no money, and I am still with them today. What I pay a broker is tiny in comparison with what kind of money I can make because of the information they provide. I love it when my real estate broker or a stock broker makes a lot of money because it usually means I made a lot of money. A good broker saved me a time in addition to making me money as when I bought the piece of vacant land for $9,000 and sold it immediately for over $25,000 so I could buy my Porsche quicker. A broker is your eyes and ears to the market. They are they are there every day, so I do not have to be. I rather play golf. Also, people who sell their house on their own must not value their time much. Why would I want to say a few bucks when I could use that time to make more money or spend it with those I love? What I find funny is that so many poor and middle class people insist on tipping restaurant help 15 to 20% even for bad service and complain about paying a broker 3 to 7%. They enjoy tipping people in the expense column and stiffing people in the asset column. That is not financially intelligent. All brokers are not created equal. Unfortunately, most brokers are only salespeople. I would say the real estate salesmen are the worst. They sell, but they themselves own little or no real estate. There is a tremendous difference between a broker who sells houses and a broker who sells investment. And that is true for stock, bonds, mutual funds, and insurance brokers who call themselves financial planners. As in the fairy tale, you kiss a lot of frogs to find one prince. Just remember the old saying, never ask an encyclopedia salesman, never ask an encyclopedia salesperson if you need an encyclopedia. When I interview any paid professional, I first find out how much property or stocks they professionally own and what percentage they pay in taxes, and that applies to my tax attorney as well as my accountant. I have an accountant who minds her own business. Her profession is accounting, but her business is real estate. I used to have an accountant that was a small business accountant, but he had no real estate. I switched because we did not love the same business. Find a broker who has your best interest at heart. Many brokers will spend the time educating you, and they could be the best asset you find. Just be fair, and most of them will be fair to you. If all you can think about is cutting their commission, then why should they want to be around you? It's just simple logic. As I said earlier, one of the management skills is the management of people. Many people only manage people they feel smarter than, and they have power over, such as subordinate in a work situation. Many middle managers remain middle managers, failing to get promoted because they know how to work with people below them but not with people above them. The real skill is to manage and pay well the people who are smarter than you in some technical area. That is why companies have a board of directors. You should have one too. And that is financial intelligence. Number seven, be an Indian giver. This is the power of getting something for nothing. When the first white settler came to America, they were taken aback by a culture practice some American Indians had. For example, if a settler was cold, the Indian would give the person a blanket, mistaking it for a gift. The settler was often offended when the Indian asked for it back. The Indian also got upset when they realized the settler did not want to give it back. That is where the term Indian giver came from, a simple culture misunderstanding. In the world of the asset column, being an Indian giver is vital to wealth. The sophisticated investigator first question is how fast do I get my money back? They also want to know what they get for free, also called a piece of an action. That is why the ROI or return of an on investment is so important. For example, I found a small condominium a few blocks from where I live that was in foreclosure. The bank wanted $60,000 and I submitted a bid of $50,000, which they took simply because along with my bid was a cashier check for $50,000. They realized I was serious. Most investor would say, "Aren't you trying up a lot of cash? Would it not be better to get a loan on it?" The answer is not in the case. My investment company used this as a vacation rental in the winter month when the snowbirds come to Arizona and rent it for $2,500 a month for 4 months out of the year for rental during the off season. It rent for only 1,000 a month. I had my money back in about 3 years. Now I own this asset which pumps money out of me month in and month out. The same is done with the stocks. Frequently my broker will call me and recommend I have a sizable amount of money into the stock of a company that he feels is just about to make a move that will add value to the stocks, like announcing a new product. I will move my money in for a week to a month while the stock moves up. Then I pull my initial dollars amount out and stop working about the fluctuation of the market because my initial money is back and ready to work on another asset. So my money goes in and then it comes out and I own an asset that was technically free. True, I have lost money on many occasions, but I only play with money I can afford to lose. I would say on an average 10 investment I hit home runs or 2 or 3 while while 5 or 6 do nothing. And I lose on 2 or 3, but I limit my losses to only the money I have in at that time. For people who hate risks, they put their money in the bank, and in the long run, saving are better than no saving, but it takes a long time to get your money back, and in most instances, you don't get anything for free with it. They used to hand out toaster, but they rarely do that these days. On every one of my investment, there must be an upside, something for free, a condominium, a mini storage, a piece of free land, a house, stock shares, office building, and there must be limited risk. A low risk idea. There are books devoted entirely to this subject that I will not get into here. Ray Kroc of McDonald's fame sold hamburger franchises not because he loved hamburgers but because he wanted the real estate under the franchise for free. So wise investor must look at more than ROI. It is the asset you get for the free once you get your money back. That is financial intelligence. Number 8, assets buy luxuries. The power of focus. A friend child has been developing a nasty habit of burning a hole in his pocket. Just 16, he naturally wanted his own car. The excuse all his friend parents give their kids car. The child wanted to go into his saving and use it for a down payment. That was when his father called me. Don't you think I should let him do it, or should I just do as other parents do? and just buy him a car. To which I answer, it might relieve the pressure in the short term, but what have you taught him in the long term? Can you use this desire to own a car inspire your son to learn something? Suddenly the lights went on and he hurried home. 2 months later, I ran into my friend again. Does your son have his new car? I asked. No, he doesn't, but I went and handed him $3,000 for the car. I told him to use my money instead of his college money. Well, that's generous of you, I said. Not really. The money came with a hitch. I took your advice of using his strong desire to buy a car and use that energy so he could learn something. So, what was a hitch? I asked. Well, first we broke out your game again, cash flow. We played it and had a long discussion about the wise use of money. I then gave him a subscription to the Wall Street Journal and a few books on the stock market. Then what? I asked what was the catch. I told him the $3,000 was his, but he could not directly buy a car with it. He could use it, buy and sell stock, find his own stockbrokers, and once he had made 6,000 with the 3,000, the money would be his for the car, and the 3,000 would go into his college fund. And what are the results? I asked. Well, he got lucky early in his trading, but lost all he gained a few days later. Then he really got interested. Today, I would say he is down $2,000, but his interest is up. He has read all the book I bought him. He's gone to the library to get more. He reads the Wall Street Journal, Vorac- voraciously watching for indicators, and he watched CNBC instead of MTV. He got only $100,000 left, but his interest and learning are sky high. He knows that if he lose that money, he work for 2 more years, but he does not seems to care. He even seems uninterested in getting a car because he found a game that is more fun. What happens if he loses all the money? I ask. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it. I rather have him lose everything now rather than wait till he's our age to risk losing everything. And besides, that is the best 3,000 I ever spent on his education. What he is learning will serve him for life, and he seems to have gained a new respect for the power of money. I think he stopped the burning of holes in his pocket. As I said in the section, pay yourself first. If a person cannot master the power of self discipline, it is best not to try to get rich for a while. The process of developing cash flow from an asset column in the theory is easy. It is a mental fortitude of directing money that is hard due to external temptation. It is much easier in today's consumer world to simply blow it out the expense column because of weak mental fortitude. That money follow into the path of least resistance that is the cause of poverty and financial struggle. I gave this numerical example of financial intelligence in the case the ability to direct money to make more money. If we gave 100 pupils $10,000 at the start of the year, I gave my opinion that at the end of the year, 80 would have nothing left. In fact, many would have created a greater debt by making a down payment on new car, refrigerator, TV, VCR, or a holiday. 16 would have increased that 10,000 by 5% to 10%. 4 would have increased 16 would have increased that $10,000 by 5% to 10%. 4 would have increased it to $20,000 or into the million. We got We go to school to learn a profession so we can work for money. It is my opinion that it is also important to learn how to have money work for you. I love the luxuries as much as anyone else. The difference is some people buy their luxuries on credit. It is a keep up with the Joneses trap. When I want to buy a Porsche, the easy road would have been to call my banker and get a loan instead of choosing to focus in the liability column. I choose to focus in the asset column. As a habit, I use my desire to consume to inspire and motivates my financial genius to invest today, often today. Too often today, we focus to borrowing money to get the things we want instead of focusing on creating money. One is the easier in the short term, but harder in the long term. It's a bad habit that we as individuals and as a nation have gotten into. Remember, the easy road often becomes hard and the hard road often becomes easy. The earlier you can train yourself and those you love to be master of money, the better. Money is a powerful force. Unfortunately, people use the power of money against them. If your financial intelligence is low, money will run all over you. It will be smarter than you. If money is smarter than you will work for it all your life. To be the master of money, you need to be master smarter than it. Then money will do as it is told. It will be obey you. Instead of being a slave to it, you will be the master of it. That is financial intelligence. Number nine, the need for heroes. The power of myth. When I was a kid, I greatly admire Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Yogi Berra, they were my heroes. As a kid playing Little Leagues, I wanted to be just like them. I treasure their baseball cards. I wanted to know everything about them. I knew the states, the RBI, the era, their batting averages, how much they got paid, and how much they came up, and how they came up. From the minors. I wanted to know everything because I wanted to be just like them. Every time as 9 or 10 years old kid when I stepped up to bat or played first base or catcher, I wasn't I wasn't me. I was Yugi or Hank. It one of the most powerful ways we learn that we often lose as adults. We lose our heroes. We lose our Nevit. Today I watch young kids playing basketball near my home on the court. They are not little Johnny. They are Michael Jordan, Sir Charles, or Clyde, or copying or emulating heroes is true. Is true power learning. And that is why when someone like O.J. Simpson falls from grace, there is such a huge outcry. Outcry. There is more than just a courtroom trial. It is the loss of a hero, someone people grew up with, look up to, and wanted to be like. Suddenly, we need to ride ourselves of that person. I have new horses as I grow older. I have golf heroes such as Peter Jacobson, Fred Couples, and Tiger Woods. I copy their swings and do my best to read everything I can about them. I also have heroes such as Donald Trump, Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, George Soros, and Jim Roger. I'm older. In my older years, I know their stats just like I knew the era and RBI of my baseball heroes. I follow what Warren Buffett invests in and reading anything I can about his point of view on the market. I read Peter Lynch book to understand how he chooses stock, and I read about Donald Trump trying to find out how he negotiate and put deals together. Just as I was not me when I was up to bat, when I am in the market or I'm negotiating a deal, I am subconsciously acting with the bravado of Trump. Or when analyzing a trend, I look at it, it is tough. Peter Lynch were doing it. By having heroes, we tap into tremendous stories of raw genius. But heroes do more than simply inspire us. Heroes make things look easy. It's a making it look easy that convinces us to want to be just like them. If they can do it, so can I. When it comes to investing, too many people make it sound hard. Instead, find heroes who make it look easy. Teach, number 10, teach and you shall receive. The power of giving. Both of my dads were teachers. My rich dad taught me a lesson I have carried all my life, and that was the necessity of being charitable or giving. My educated dad gave a lot, but the way of time and knowledge, but almost never gave away money. As I said, he usually said that he would give when he had some extra money. Of course, there was rarely an extra. My rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in tithe, tithing. If you want something, you just need to give. He would always say when he was short of money, he simply gave money to his church or to his favorite charity. If I could leave one single idea with you, it is that idea whenever you feel short or in need or something, give what you want first and it will come back in bucket. That is true for money. A smile, love, friendship. I know it is often the last thing a person may want to do, but it has always worked for me. I just trust that the principle of reciprocity, it is true, and I give what I want money, so I give money and it comes back and multiplies. I want sales, so I help someone else sell something and sales come to me. I want contact and I help someone else get contact, and like magic, contacts come to me. I heard a saying years ago that when God does not need to receive, but humans need to give. My rich dad would often say poor people are more greedy than rich people. He would explain that if a person was rich, that person was providing something that other people wanted. In my life over all these years, whenever I have felt needy or short of money or short of help, I simply went out or found in my heart what I wanted and decide to give it first, and when I give it always come back. It reminds me of the story of the guy sitting with firewood in his arms, or a cold freezing night when he is yelling at the pot billet stove. When you give me some heat, then I'll put some wood in. And when it comes to money, love, happiness, sales, and context, all one needs to remember is first to give what you want, and it will come back in droves. Often, just the process of thinking of what I want and how could I give what I want to someone else breaks free a torrent of bounty. Whenever I felt that people aren't smiling at me, I simply begin smiling and saying hello, and like magic, there are certainly more smiling people around me. It is the truth that your world is only a mirror of you. So that's why I say, teach and you shall receive. I have found that the more I sincerely teach those who want to learn, the more I learn. If you want to learn about money, teach it to someone else. A torrent of new ideas and finer distinction will come in. There are times when I have given and nothing has come back, or what I have received is not what I wanted, but upon closer inspection, soul searching, I was often given to receive in those instances instead of giving to give. My dad taught teachers and he became a master teacher. My rich dad always taught young people his way of doing business. In retrospect, it was their generosity with what they knew that made them smarter. There are powers in this world that are much smarter than we are. You can get there on your own, but it is easier with the help of the power that be. All you need to be generous with what you have, and the power will be generous with you. Chapter 10. Still want more? Here are some to dos. Many people may not be satisfied with my 10 steps, then see them more as philosophies than actions. I think understanding the philosophy is just as important as the action. There are many people who want to do instead of think, and then there are people who think but do not do. I would say that I am both. I love new ideas and I love action. So for those who want to do do's on how to get started, I will share with you some of the things that I do in abbreviated form. Stop doing what you are doing. In other words, take a break and assess what is working and what is not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same things and accepting a different result. Stop doing what is not working and look for something new to do. Look for new ideas, for new investing ideas, to go to bookstore and look for books on different and unique subjects. I call them formulas. I buy how to books on a formula I know nothing about. For example, it was the bookstore that I found the book The 16% Solution by Joel Moskowitz. I bought the book and read it. Take action. The next Thursday, I did exactly as the book said, step by step. I had also done that with finding real estate bargains in attorney offices and in banks. Most people do not take action, or they let someone talk them out of whatever new formula they are studying. My neighbor told me why 16% would not work. I did not listen to him because he's never done it. Find someone who has done what you want to do. Take them to lunch, ask them for tips, for little tricks of the trade. As for 16% tax line certificates, I went to the county tax office and found a government employee who worked in the office. I found out that she too invested in the tax lines. Immediately she was invited to lunch. She was thrilled to tell me everything she knew and how to do it. After lunch, she spent all afternoon showing me everything. By the next day, I found two great properties with her help and have been acquiring interest at 16% ever since. It took a day to read the book, a day to take action, an hour for lunch, and a day to acquire two great deals. Take classes and buy tapes. I search the newspaper for new and interesting classes. Many are for free or a small fee. I also attend and pay for expensive seminars on what I want to learn. I am wealthy and free from needing a job simply because of the course I took. I have friends who did not take those classes who told me I was wasting my money, and yet they are still at the same job, make lots of offer. When I want a piece of real estate, I look at many properties and generally writes an offer. If you don't know what the right offer is, neither do I. What is the that is the job of the real estate agent that make the offer. I do as little work as possible. A friend wanted me to show her how to buy apartment houses. So one Saturday, she and her agent, I went and looked at six apartment houses. Four were dogs, but two were good. I said to write offer on all six, offering half of what the owner asked for. She and the agent nearly had heart attacks. They thought it would be rude that I might offend the seller, but I really don't think the agent wanted to work that hard. So they did nothing and went on looking for a better deal. No offer were ever made, and that person is still looking for the right deal at the right price. Well, you don't know what the right price is until you have a second party who want to deal. Most sellers ask too much. It's a rare that a seller will actually ask a price that is less than something is worth. Moral of the story, make offer people who are not investors have no idea what it feels like to be trying to sell something. I have had a piece of real estate that I wanted to sell for months. I would have welcomed anything. I would not care how low the price. They could have offered me 10 pigs and I would have been happy. Then not at the offer, they just because someone was interested. I would have countered maybe for a pig farm is exchange, but that's how the game works. The game of buying and selling is fun. Keep that in mind. It's fun and only a game. Make offers, someone might say yes. And I always make offer with escape clauses. In real estate, I make an offer with the word subject to approval of business partner. I never specify who the business partner is. Most people do not know my partner is my cat. If they accept the offer, I don't want the deal. I call my home and speak to my cat. I make his absurd statement to illustrate how absurdly easy and simply the game is. So many people make things too difficult and take them too seriously. Finding a good deal, the right business, the right people, the right investors, or whatever is just like dating. You must go to the market and talk to a lot of people, make a lot of offers, counter offers, negotiate, reject, and accept. I know single people who sit at home and wait for the phone to ring. But unless you're Sandy Crawford or Tom Cruise, I think you best go to the market even if it's the only supermarket. Search, offer, reject, negotiate, and accept are all parts of the process of almost everything in life. Jog, walks, or drive a certain area once a month for 10 minutes. I have found some of my best real estate investment while jogging. I will jog a certain neighborhood for a year. What I look for is change. For there is for there to be profit in a deal, there must be two elements, a bargain and a change. There are lots of bargains, but it's change that turns a bargain into a profitable opportunity. So when I jog a neighborhood I might like to invest in. It is the reputation that caused me to notice slight difference. I notice real estate signs that are up for a long time. That means the sailor might be more agreeable to deal. I watch for moving trucks going in and out. I stop and talk to the drivers. I talk to the postal carriers. It's amazing how much information they acquire about an area. I find a bad area, especially an area that the news has scared everyone away from. I drive it for sometimes a year waiting for signs of something changing for the better. I talk to realtors, retailers, especially new ones, and find out they are moving in. It takes only a few minutes a month, and I do it while doing something else like exercising or going to and from the store. As for stocks, I like Peter Lynch book Beating the Street for his formula for selecting stocks that grows in value. I have found that the principle of finding value are the same regardless if it's real estate, stocks, mutual fund, new companies, a new pad, a new home, a new spouse, or a new bargain or laundry detergent. The process is always the same. You need to know what you are looking for and then go look for it. Why? Because consumers will always be poor. Then the supermarket has a sale on, say, toilet paper. The consumer runs in and stock up. When the stock market has a sale, most often called a crash or correction, the consumer runs away from it. When the supermarket rises its price, the consumer shops elsewhere. When the stock market rises its price, the consumer starts buying. Look in the right place. A neighbor bought a condominium for $100,000. I bought the identical condo next door to his for $50,000. He told me he's waiting for the price to go up. I told him that his profit is made when you buy, not when you sell. He shopped with a real estate broker who owns no property of her own. I shopped at the foreclosure department of a bank. I paid $500 for a class on how to do this. My neighbor thought that the $500 for real estate investment class was too expensive. He said he could not afford it and he couldn't afford the time, so he waits for the price to go up. I look for people who wants to buy first, then I look for someone who wants to sell. A friend was looking for a certain piece of land. He had the money and did not have the time. I found a large piece of land larger than that what my friend wanted to buy, tied it up with an option, called my friend and he wanted a piece of it, so I sold the piece to him and then bought the land. I kept the remaining land as mine for free. Moral of the story, buy the pie and cut it in pieces. Most people look for what they can afford, so they look too small. They buy only a piece of the pie, so they end up paying more for less. Small thinkers don't get the big breaks. If you want to get richer, think bigger first. Retailer love giving volume discounts simply because most business people love big spenders. So even if you are small, you can always think big. When my company was in the market for computer, I called several friends and asked them if they were ready to buy also. We then went to different dealers and negotiate a great deal because we want to buy so many. I have done the same with stocks. Some small people remain small because they think small, act alone, or don't act at all. Learn from history. All the big companies on the stock exchange started out as small companies. Colonel Sanders did not get rich until after he lost everything in his 60s. Bill Gates was one of the richest men in the world before he was 30. Action always beats inaction. There are just a few of the things I have done and continue to do to recognize opportunities. The important words being done and do, as repeated many times throughout the book. You must take action before you can receive the financial reward. Act now. How to pay for a child's college education for $7,000 as a book draw to close and approaches publication. I would like to share a final thought with you. The man the main reason I wrote this book was to share insight into how increased financial intelligence can be used to solve many life common problems without financial training. We all too often use the standard formulas to get through life, such as to work hard, save, borrow, and pay excessive taxes. Today, we need better information. I use the following story as a final example of a financial problem that confront many young families today. How do you afford a good education for your children and provide for your own retirement? It's an example of using financial intelligence instead of hard work to achieve the same goal. A friend of mine was gripping one day about how hard it was to save money for his four children's college education. He was putting $300 away in a mutual fund each month and had so far accumulated about $12,000. He estimated he needed $400,000 to get four children through college. He had 12 years to save for it since his oldest son was then 6 years of age. The year was 1991 and the real estate market in Phoenix was terrible. People were giving house away. I suggested to my classmates that he buy a house with some of the money in his mutual fund. The idea intrigued him and we began to discuss the possibility. His primary concern was that he did not have the credit with the bank to buy another house since he was so overextended. I assured him that there were other ways to finance a property other than through the bank. We looked for a house for 2 weeks, a house that would fit all the criteria we were looking for. There were a lot of choose from, so the shopping was kind of fun. Finally, we found a three-bedroom, two-bed home in a prime neighborhood. The owner had been downsized and needed to sell that day because he and his family were moving to California, where another job waited. He wanted 1,200 one 100 he wanted $102,000, but we offered only $79,000. He took it immediately. The home had on it what it is called a non-qualifying loan, which means even a bum without a job could buy it without a banker approval. The owner owed 72,000, so all my friend had to come up with 7,000. The difference in price between what was owed and what it sold for. As soon as the owner moved, my friend put the house up for rent. After all expenses were paid, including the mortgage, we put about 125 in his pocket each month. His plan was to keep the house for 12 years and let the mortgage get paid down faster. By applying the extra $125 to the principal each month, we figured that in 12 years, a large portion of the mortgage will be paid off and he could possibly be clearing 800 a month by the time his first child went to college. He could also sell the house if it had appreciated in value. In 1994, the real estate market suddenly changed in Phoenix and he was offered 1,56,000 for the same house by the tenant who lived in it and loved it. Again, he asked me what I thought, and I naturally said sale on a 1031 tax deferred exchange. Suddenly, he had nearly 80,000 to operate with. I called another friend in Austin, Texas, who then moved this tax deferred money into a mini storage facility. Within 3 months, he began receiving checks for a little less than 100,000 a month in income, which he then poured back into the college mutual fund that was now building much faster. In 1996, the mini warehouse sold and he received a check for nearly 3 lakh 30 3 lakh $30,000 as a proceed from the sale, which was again rolled up into a new project that would now throw all over 3,000 a month in income again. Going into the college mutual fund, he is now very confident that his goal of $400,000 will be met easily, and it only took $7,000 to start and a little financial intelligence. His children will be able to afford the education that they wanted, and he will then use the underlying asset wrap in his corporation to pay for his retirement. As a result of his successful investment strategy, he will be able to retire early. Thank you for the reading this book. I hope it has provided some insight into utilizing the power of money. Today, we need greater financial intelligence to simply survive. The idea that it takes money to make money is the thinking of financial unsophisticated people. It does not mean that they are not intelligent, they have simply not learned the science of making money. Money is only an idea. If you want more money, simply change your thinking. Every self made person started small with an idea, then turned it into something big. The same applies with investing. It takes only a few dollars to start and grow it into something big. I met so many people who spend their lives chasing the big deals or trying to amass a lot of money to get into a big deal, but to me, that is foolish. Too often, I have seen unsophisticated investor put their large nest eggs into one deal and lose most of it rapidly. They may have been good workers, but they were not good investors. Educations and wisdoms about money are important. Start nearly buy a book, go to the seminar, practice, start small. I turned $5,000 cash into a $1 million asset producing $5,000 a month cash flow in less than 6 years. But I started learning as a kid. I encourage you to learn because it's not that hard. In fact, it's kind of easy once you get the hang of it. I think I have made my message clear. It's what is in your head that determines what is in your hand. Money is only an idea. There is a great book called Think and Grow Rich. The title is not Work Hard and Grow Rich. There is a great book called Think and Grow Rich. The title is not Work Hard and Grow Rich. Learn learn to have money work hard for you and your life will be easier and happier. Today don't play it safe, play it smart. Take action. Many of you were giving two great gifts, your mind and your time. It is up to you to do what you please with both. With each dollar bill that enter your hand, you and only you have the power to determine your destiny. Spend it foolishly. You choose to be poor, spend it on liabilities. You join the middle class, invest it Invest it in your mind and learn how to acquire asset, and you will be choosing wealth as your goal and your future. The choice is yours and only yours. Every day with every dollar you decided to be rich, poor or middle class. Choose to share this knowledge with your children, and you choose to prepare them for the world that awaits. No one else will. You and your children's future will be determined by choice you make today, not tomorrow. We wish you great wealth and much happiness with this fabulous gift called life. Robert Kiyosaki, Sharon Letter about the author Robert Kiyosaki. The main reason people struggling financially is because they spend years in schooling but learn nothing about money. The result is people learn to work for money but never learn to have money work for them, say Robert. Born and raised in Hawaii, Robert is fourth generation Japanese American. He comes from a prominent family of educators. His father was the head of education for the state of Hawaii. After high school, Robert was educated in New York, and upon graduation, he joined the US Marine Corps and went to Vietnam as an officer and a helicopter gunship pilot. Returning from the war, Robert's business career begins in 1977. He found a company that brought to the market the first nylon and Velcro surfer wallets, which grew into a multi-million dollar worldwide product. He and his products were featured in Runner, World's Gentleman, Quarterly Success Magazine, Newsweek, and even Playboy. Leaving the business world, he co-founded in 1985 an international education company that operated in 7 countries, teaching business and investing to tens of thousands of graduates. Retiring at age 47, Robert does what he enjoys most, investing, concerned about the growing gap between the have and have not. Robert created the board game Cash Flow, which teaches the game of money here before only known by the rich. Although Robert Although Robert business is real estate and developing small cap companies, his true love and passion is teaching. He has shared the speaking stage with such greats as O.G. Mendoni, Zig Ziglar, and Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki. Message is clear. Take responsibility for your finance or take orders all your life. You are either a master of money or a slave to it. Robert holds classes that last from 1 hour to 3 days, teaching people about the secrets of the rich. Although his subject runs from investing for high returns and low risk to teaching your children to be rich to starting companies and selling them. He has one solid earth shaking message, and that message is awaking the financial genius that lies within you. Your genius is waiting to come out. That is what world's famous speakers and author Anthony Robbins say about Robert works. Robert Kiyosaki work in education is powerful, profound, and life changing. I salute his effort and recommend him highly. During this time of great economic changes, Robert's message is priceless. About the authors Sharon L. Litter, about the authors Sharon L. Lichter, wife and mother of three, CPA consultant to the toy and publishing industry's business owner Sharon Litter has dedicated her professional efforts to the field of education. She graduated with honor from Florida State University with a degree in accounting. She joined the ranks of what was then one of the big eight accounting firm and went on to become the CFO of a turnaround company in the company industry, tax director for a national insurance company, and founder and associate publisher of the first regional woman magazine in Wisconsin, all while maintaining her professional credentials as a CPA. Her focus is quickly changed Her focus quickly changed to education as she watched her own three children grow. It was a struggle to get them to read. They would rather watch TV. So she she was delighted to join forces with the inventor of the first electronic talking book and help expand the electronic book industry to a multi-million dollar international market. Today, she remain a pioneer in developing a new technology to bring the book back into children's life. As her own children grew, she was keenly involved in their education. She became a vocal activist in the areas of mathematics, computers, readings, and writing education. Our current education system has not been able to keep pace with the global and technological changes in the world today. We must teach our young people the skills, both scholastic and financial, that they will need not only to survive but to flourish in the world they face. As co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant, she now focuses her efforts in helping to create educational tools for anyone interested in bettering their own financial education.